慣れない顔ね。どこから来たの？これからさ、どこ行くの？ねえねえねえってばね
君は誰？
質問しているのは私の方よ。
この子の母親のふるさとを探す旅をしているんだ。
面白そう。私も連れてってよ。
ダメだよ。
なんでそんなこと言うのよ。
道案内してくれんならいいんじゃねえか。
やった。どこ行く？どっから行く？
あはははは。あはは。あはははは。はは。Leggy FMVs. A story even a mother couldn't love. Unfinished gameplay. Broken game. Kusoge. It is difficult to describe what it truly means to be the worst at something. A finished game can fail to deliver, and a broken mess can prove to entertain. A case in point, my last two videos. Samurai Jack, The Amulet of Time, and The Shadow of Aku are arguably far more complete games than Crisis City. But would I play any of those over it? No. And as such, I put little value into those generic worst games lists and games being given the label of worst in any category. Me and my odd game taste will be the judge on my own terms. Which is why I got excited upon seeing this Sean Johnson quote tweet pop up, in which the release of an English translation of Ancient Roman, A Power of Darkside, was announced. Translated by the wonderful Snowy Aria with the help of Esper Knight and Car Got In. The thing looked like a pixelated, pre-rendered Final Fantasy type beat RPG that was right up my oddball alley. Only to figure out I was in fact excited about a game that isn't only widely considered to be Kusoge, but also deemed to be the worst PlayStation RPG to ever exist. Did my eyes deceive me? Is the general public in the wrong? Do I simply just enjoy stupid shit? Likely all of the above. But I concluded it was time for me to be the judge. In a universe far from our own, a civilization once thought immortal was blown away in the blink of an eye. That senseless evil lurked in the shadows for untold years, before releasing its hate upon Hein Rogue 17 years ago. Kai, the young tragic prince who lost everything, begins his journey to find love, peace, and even himself. Let us open the curtains to his tale. Okay, fine. I'll admit it. The game sucks. It's a stupid, broken, unfinished, nonsensical mess that earned itself the label of Kusoge. But hot damn, did I enjoy playing this.
Dead.
So the game's about Kai Orpheus, a blue-haired guy nabbed from his mom by a monster for no apparent reason in a laggy FMV, and then forced to work in some mines until the age of 17. A point in time in which he decides he's finally had enough, and defeats the evil devil warden with his random new best friends he met in a dorm room about 5 minutes prior, so he can set out to explore the outside world and discover his true origins. Why does the game start you off in the mines with zero backstory and have your first fight be the battle of your life to prevent the master plan of the evil devil warden that has kept you as a slave for 17 years, after the most convenient cave under a dorm by pushing a barrel enabled you to eavesdrop on his evil plans? No clue. What are Burke's and Michaelia's motives for accompanying you, and why is the dialogue like they're best friends from the get-go, despite meeting about 10 minutes ago? Not the faintest idea. Why is Old Man John important enough to get his own death cutscene where he gives you a pendant to fulfill your destiny? I don't know, man. However, with a vague main objective established, Kai and the gang start off their journey to unravel the mystery of his past. Except the main plot then gets hijacked by a human become monster virus about an hour in. So we solve that instead. Yeah, I have no idea what's happening either. It's beautiful. From here on out, the game's progression is held together by sheer coincidence, some grade A nonsensical bullshit, and every new ally joining you has nothing to do with anything whatsoever. Just being like, yo, my life kinda sucks. Yo, recruiting? Everything rational screams at me to hate on how bad the plot, its dialogue and overall structure is. But to me, it's so bad. It's actually good. There's just something strangely entertaining about entering these aesthetically different but functionally equal locations, reading through some of the worst fangame plot progression type beat dialogue, and or broken RPG battling some monsters, only for the section to end with Burke or Michaelia asking,
What do we do now?
And Kai, aka a word heart, or the super special super head of all sages pulling the most random plot point out of their ass that has nothing to do with anything yet somehow still circles back to the main plot. It's got the most unpredictable twists and turns I have ever experienced firsthand in a video game that never failed to surprise me. I had to force myself to take breaks from playing and actually write this goddamn script while the game was still fresh in my mind. Because I wanted to continue playing this. Advancing the game. Waiting for the next iconic moment to present itself. And I'm saying this unironically, because I'll never in my life forget any of these. You'll be minding your own business, visit an old castle, Randomly kill a party members possessed by monsters dead in here for no damn reason, and take a left turn. Only to find your mother that died 17 years ago, followed by the dumbest fucking FMV you've ever seen. The next moment you find yourself exploring a new town and talking to its citizens, when Word Heart is suddenly like, "Yo Burke, let's ditch this dumbo!" No build up, no nothing, aside from this ill magician in the town prior devoting 2 whole sentences to asking if it's not too dangerous to take Michaelia with you on your journey. It all feels so out of the blue. It's such a bad attempt at character development and writing a deep and meaningful story. It's truly got everything. From the high school level writing ruining a serious moment to call Burke a dumbass, to the most incoherent conversations one can barely follow, to everything female being in love with Word Heart.
'Cause bitches love protagonists.
It's so damn funny to be in this magical house with this magical author that's supposed to be a serious moment where the gang discusses their next move. Just to see Burke go,
A me Burke, a me smash.
in order to use the same joke of Burke's only personality trait, being dumber than a dead goldfish, for about the billionth time. Even the grande finale is given shape by the gang asking where to head next and your sailor ally Baroa being like,
I know.
let's visit a random island we haven't been to yet to look for new clues. It has been a while since a game cracked me up this bad, this consistently. The further I got in the game, the more I started to feel like the game is the way it is because it was written by an alcoholic. And I'm not even joking. A drunk pharmacist, a drunk uncle, a drunk dude outside a castle, a drunk dude that saw elves. Every bar everywhere talking about serving underage kids alcohol. The game's obsession with being drunk is perplexing, to say the least. To no one's surprise, the game doesn't shy away from a little drug usage in one of the many optional pathways either, where the gang ingests Burke's stolen shrooms, Michaelia drug trips to the hot spring, and Burke peer pressures Word Heart to take a peek at naked Michaelia. Optional pathways with zero indication of even existing that are triggered by doing very specific things in a very specific time frame, before becoming inaccessible. My favorite one being the previously locked door at the mines that just plays a 5-second FMV and that goes like, and then Burke goes,
Me Burke, me smash again.
classic silly Burke, am I right, guys? That's the entire event. Didn't want to miss it. For real, for real. And thanks to Snowy Aria, aka Arcane Aria on GameFAQs, I didn't. Even if the list may be incomplete. So, shout out to you. Playing this game, I occasionally found myself in genuine disbelief about how any of this is part of a real PS1 release. They somehow managed to bruise their ankles every step of the way, which is a difficult to establish accomplishment, if anything. The plot is bad, and the events have no correlation or build-up. The dialogue was written by a 12-year-old with a language deficiency, and the meaningless laggy FMVs containing phoned-in voice acting due to budget constraints add the cherry on top of the stinky-ass shit cake I hopelessly fell in love with.
あなたの父、国王の魂は闇に囚われたまま冥界に近いところをさまよっています。国王の魂を闇より解き放ってください。私を母さんと呼んでくれましたね。ありがとう。
It's so unpredictably bad, so unpredictably stupid, and so out of nowhere, to the point of feeling like the sequence of events were thought of by having an AI generate random scenarios, that I couldn't be anything else than thoroughly entertained. Smiling from ear to ear. It's this sheer ridiculousness of it all that makes this game a must-play. An iconic experience even. And the gameplay makes it even better.
God damn!
The biggest accomplishment I can give this game is that it is in fact an RPG with functional stats, a fair encounter rate, and sufficient enough level scaling. Everything else, however, absolute cinema. Hello? Oh. The game was built like a demo, running at a stable 15 FPS, complete with built-in jump scares. The encounters lag. The attack animations lag very loudly. The victory screen makes my heartbeat race. The screen transitions lag. The voice soundbites in the shop menu
これは役立つと思う。
lag the menu. Alongside the beautiful lag FMVs that are a known entity at this point, the little laggies make sure you stay focused by keeping you guessing if you make it to the other side.
ケチ。
What an ingenious mechanic. Nah. I'm dicking around. It only crashed a handful of times at the same exact end of battle moment, becoming a little more frequent towards the end. Has something to do with the strings of code not being able to handle the transition of the enemy KO soundbite into the victory music. It's funny as hell how they managed to misuse the PS1's hardware to this degree. It's almost like they didn't playtest and just dumped it out there for the world to see. But alas, it works. Fighting for its life. But it works. Okay, it doesn't really work either. Well, it works in the sense that it's an RPG with turn-based battles, as well as stats, magic, equipment and gamme to upgrade all of it. But when we look beyond the borders of the bare basics, things get interesting, to say the least. Following the lead the Grandmaster of all sages pulled out of his ass, you will visit new towns, where you'll be redirected to a dungeon to pre-rendered background RPG battle yourself to a person of importance or some potentially divine item or power to unlock the next location to restock and repeat. Maybe I shouldn't have made this one sentence. It's honestly an acceptable gameplay loop. Enemies become stronger, so you need better tools. Better tools are found in dungeon chests or bought in shops. A gap bridged, a goose chase completed. It's a gameplay loop that then becomes really fucking funny. And once you start to realize the various locations contain nothing but reskinned shops, an inn and a bar, alongside a handful of NPCs spouting some vaguely plot-related bullshit. It's a contentless shop hub that does an excellent job at keeping the in-depth RPG mechanics at the center of the attention. And other lies I tell myself. This could have been a standard RPG template, but nothing in this game truly meets the standard. So you start the game, sit through the introductory yapping, eavesdrop on Devil Boy and obtain a kitchen knife to take him down. You then proceed to check its stats. There are no stats. Until it's the first case of what I'd like to call the good old, I don't know, because developer Nihon Systems didn't bother to elaborate on anything. Down to even the only available guide having no clue what these two base stats mean. But do not worry about any of that. The RPG formula is simple anyway. Base stats must go up. And to aid you in doing just that, there is equipment with varying stats and even potential weapon status effects. But doesn't tell you what stats, unless you equip it. And that keeps potential status effects a total mystery. Not to mention the equipment disappearing forever if equipped on Farah or MacLeod, when they suddenly rotate out of the plot, to never rotate back in. What a great and unannounced idea. Because you don't know what anything does other than who it belongs to, you just purchase whatever is the most expensive, soon realizing the price to stat value makes no goddamn sense, and the free dungeon equipment clears it continuously. So you just use your Game to pump Berg full of speed stat cocoa beans instead. This will shoot him up the supposedly based on speed stat turn order inside of battle. However, after turn 1 you have no clue what that order is, because different actors will suddenly move in different orders. And thus coked up Berg will move after the character with half his speed stat, either due to the game incorrectly reading speed stats or being inflicted by a status effect the turn prior. But I wouldn't know, because there's no indication of being statused other than a sudden lack of action during a turn, or an enemy explicitly using a status inflicting spells. Of which I don't have the faintest idea what their effect even is, because magic is a non-factor in this game. Your party as well as your enemies have magic weaknesses and resistances, but the game never tells you what they are, what a magic attack even does, and makes it look like you're missing spells by hiding the ones you don't have enough magic points for. A true mystery I didn't bother to unravel, as I quickly figured out discovering magic weaknesses of new enemies in every single area and spending Game on mana restore fruit was barely worth it, because the basic attack was dealing far more consistent damage to everyone. Even if Snowy Aria's guide has taught me there are some baller ass spells in the game, that there really is no need for them. Now, this might potentially seem like some absolute booty cheeks game design to you. And yeah, it most definitely is. But who am I to shit on a bad game like this for the sake of objectivity, when this legitimately is the most fun I've had playing video games all year? Look, I'm a simple man. I see stats go up. I am satisfied. A simplistic mindset that leaves room to enjoy the stupidity. I find joy in encountering and farming new look enemies in every area with the basic attack, as long as the funny number goes up. And that they do. Enemies drop copious amounts of experience and Game, racking up those funny numbers. So even if a new area has dragons, hydras, warriors, or Gary is whooping your ass, you gain levels every 2 to 3 battles that are imbalanced to the point of making the squadron go from underpowered to equal to overpowered in the span of about 2 levels. That in turn makes it feel like much less of a waste and a funny as hell gamble to spend thousands of your hard-earned Game to then come to the inevitable conclusion:
This shit sucks!
Not that you'll ever truly need high-end equipment or additional levels in the first place, because no area is all that difficult, not even on first entrance. Most, if not all, enemies die in 2 to 3 hits and can thus barely damage you before the battle is over, resulting in the 3v3 encounters being the only format posing any sort of a challenge. Until you acquire the Sleep Axe. Yep. This thing is broken, alright. Obtained in the wonderful world of the elves, this 3000
Got me.
Berg Axe will inflict sleep status on an enemy for 3 whole turns, with a 100% success rate, resetting the 3 turns every hit. This means you can stun lock loop every boss fight and any enemy of your choice, and as such is the obvious speedrunner choice. I mean, why did you think I was stuffing Berg full of speed cocoa? As if the battles and their adjacent mechanics weren't an iconic shitpost already. This axe makes even the hardest of fights look mad silly. Even the final boss battle of the entire game. Well, except for the area where you fight these giant chickens with the built-in sleep axe effect. Finally, a worthy cheating scum opponent. But yeah, overall the battles are more of a formality, giving you something to do in between being gobsmacked by whatever out-of-pocket plot progression they are cooking up at that very moment. And you don't even have to do any of them outside of boss battles, because holding circle will unintentionally repel any encounter. A fun little glitch or debug feature they forgot to take care of. It does work like a charm when hunting for optional events in early areas later on in the game though. So shout out to this beautiful oversight. Other than that, there is no real use for this feature in my opinion. Not just because the aforementioned generous encounter rate, the moderate at best difficulty, and the broken ass sleep axe, but also because of the game throwing about 10 battles tops your way in the first 3 hours of gameplay. In fact, it would be insulting to purposely skip out on any part of the adventure. It truly is a mess that should be enjoyed in full. From running through the low detail pre-rendered backgrounds, to witnessing the most unserious Team Rocket blasting off enemy defeat animation, to praying the game doesn't shit the bed on the experience screen. It's the complete package of abysmal production that makes this game. When this game was released, the PlayStation 1 was in its 4th year. But I don't think Nihon Systems was fully aware. The audiovisual design is light years behind its contemporaries, aka the Final Fantasy VIIs of its time. However, opposed to literally anybody else, I fuck with it. I'd like to see it as an artistic design choice, despite knowing damn well it's not. Call me a nut job, but I think the low detail in just about everything, the unreasonable geometry, and the strange as hell sound design all throughout, it all has its charm, man. One moment you're wandering through a town in a forest, the beautiful world of the elves, or a fisherman's village, while listening to the most soothing tunes the game has to offer. The citizens roaming around are nothing but pixelated, no detail, round-headed warping textures, and depending on the camera angle, you can barely tell what a building even is, or where to enter it. The next moment you head out to conquer the next dungeon, to save the world. when they hit you with the worst music you've ever heard in your life. So you take a few steps and get into a battle, where the backgrounds are nothing but blocky textures, low effort walls, the Paint.net bucket feature, and grainy free stock images of a blue sky, followed by the loudest, grating and unmixed sound effect you've ever heard upon landing a hit.
勝負だ!
In fact, the entire body of audio is the most Kendrick Lamar untitled, unmixed, unmastered I have ever heard in a video game. I have been trying to rebalance the audio in this edit to make the video watchable. But like, look at this fucking waveform of the overworld transitioning into a cutscene. Now, that ain't right, man. A little bit of Crystal's Audacity compressor. Would have fixed this. But nah, fuck it. Instead, it sounds like this. A volume warning incoming, and all that. This truly might be the best game of all time. Like, look at me standing on this green blob of an island in the middle of the ocean. Mountains looming in the background. Careless. Flourishing. Like a Renaissance painting. There's even a section or two where they have the beep boop boop bop boop boop beep song from that one SpongeBob episode playing. That that cracked me up real bad. This game sucks, but I love it, man. This genuinely might be the worst PlayStation RPG of all time. But not to me. Quite literally last video I played through 2 games with a combined runtime of half of Ancient Roman, but felt like an eternity, while Ancient Roman's 15 hours flew by. It's different from a game with a handful of garbage mechanics that make it a chore to play through. It's a game that has managed to get every single thing wrong. And that's what makes it such a memorable and entertaining experience to me. It's like that one kid in gym class that makes a name for himself as the anti-athlete. He exists, he shows up, but when it is time to perform, he It's an absolute train wreck, but a highly entertaining one. Whether it's the clusterfuck of a story, the unfinished mechanics, the atrocious sound design, or the game suffering in its desperate attempts to exist and function at all, it truly is a goldmine. This isn't a game one should play when looking for perfection, or anything good at all really. This is a game one should play when looking for an iconic journey. This is one of the dumbest, nonsensical, unfinished and badly designed games I have ever played. But it's so hilariously bad that it got me smiling at its tomfoolery bullshit all throughout. So after spending an entire video listing all of its shortcomings, there is only one inevitable conclusion to be made. I love Ancient Roman, Power of Darkside. So, to wrap up this video, I will now throw it back all the way to 2017 to recreate and relive a historic Words of Wisdom video. Oh my fucking god. That snowball actually shut down my entire fucking phone, man. I hit it so hard, it was first try too. Okay, back to the rest of the video. See? What an iconic moment. A video made during a much better time in my life. So, in this beautiful sunset, let us relive greatness.
Yeah, you a different person on the internet. You are not the person that I met in person. You might think that bullshit is working for you. Maybe it is, but you lame as hell. On the phone like where the party at the party and you on your phone. Talking about how lit the party is, might as well be home alone. Subtweeting and sneak dissing, acting like you got enemies. Then you see them out face to face, you don't keep the same energy.